Okay, Prabhu, you can go ahead.
All right. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. Our glory to Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada, our glory to Gurudev, all praise assembled Vaishnava devotees. Today, we are very much blessed. We have His Grace Srivas Vanacary, who will be speaking to us from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, His Grace is our mentor and is our guru, especially in West Africa. So he needs no introduction because this is his home. So Prabhuji, you're very much welcome. It's kind of funny, excuse me my language, to be welcomed to your own home. But
well,
it's a tradition. It's a tradition we need to follow. So without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and then he will start speaking.
Okay.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, let me do this.
Narayana namaskritya narachaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato chaya mudirayat nashtapraya svabhadresu nityam bhagavatam sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhakti bhavati naistiki Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Text 36. Chapter 5 is entitled The Cause of All Causes. So we have the verse on the screen. Yasheha vayavai lokam kalpayanti manishinaha katya adibirada sapta sapto dhvam jagannadibhir yasyeha vayavai lokam kalpayanti manishinaha katya adibirada sapta sapto dhvam jagannadibhir Yasyeha vayai lokan kalpayanti manishinaha katya adibirada saptaha saptor advam jagannadibhir. Word for word translation. Yasya, whose, eha, in the universe. Avayai, by the limbs of the body. Lokan, all the planets. Kalpayanti, imagine. Manisinaha, great philosophers. Kati Adibir, down from the waist. Adaha, downwards. Saptaha, 7 systems. Sapta Udran, and 7 systems upwards. Jagana Adibir, front portion. Translation. Great philosophers imagine that the complete planetary systems in the universe are displays of the different upper and lower limbs of the universal body of the Lord. Purport. The word kalpayanti or imagine is significant. The Virat universal form of the absolute truth, of the absolute, is an imagination of the speculative philosophers who are unable to adjust to the eternal 200 form of Lord Krishna. Although the universal form, as imagined by the great philosophers, is one of the features of the Lord, it is more or less imaginary. It is said that the 7 upper planetary systems are situated above the waist of the universal form, whereas the lower planetary systems are situated below his waist. The idea impressed herein is that the Supreme Lord is conscious of every part of his body. And nowhere in the creation is there anything beyond his control. Om Gyana Tamaridasya Gyanan Janashala Kaya Shakshuram Litam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yukta Padakamalam Sri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahogana Ragunastam Bitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakam Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Iti Namini Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Asri Tatmane Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Iti Namini Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvise Sashunyavadi Pasachahade Satarini Vanchakalpatarvyascha Kripasandubhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pranayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gauratize Namaha Nityanando Vatutendo Vasuda Pranavalabhar Janavir Jivita Patir Krishna Prema Prabhu Padmavati Sutta Srimam Sachirananda Purvajaha Bhavam Mata Jagat Rakta Rakta Gora Kele Varaha Advaitam Harina Dvaitaracharyam Bhakti Shamshanat Bhaktavataram Itam Sham Advaita Acharya Ashraye Panchatattvamakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namapankajanabaya Namapankajamaline. Namapankajanitraya Namaste Pankajagraye. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha. Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopita Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mader Mater Gatir Masarvaswa Padam Bujo Radha Mandana Mohano Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadurmada Sri Madranat Gara Simhasanastau Srila Govinda Devo Prishtyalivi Sevya Manosmarami Srimam Rasa Rasarambi Vam Sivata Tatastita Karsan Venuswanai Gopi Gopinata Sriyestunaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Devi Krishnamai Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarva Lakshmi Mai Sarvam Kanti Samohini Paraha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Translation again. Great philosophers imagine that the complete planetary systems in the universe are displays of the different upper and lower limbs of the universal body of the Lord. Mugam karoti vachalam pangum lagayete grim. Yat Kripatamahan Vande Shri Guru Dina Taranam Paramanam Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Akanda Mandalakaram Vyapta Yena Chara Charam Tatpadam Dashitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. So everyone is welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam discussion, which is from the second canto, chapter 5, the cause of all causes, and verse 36 is the verse for our discussion. And so before we proceed to say something about this verse, we would first of all like to seek the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are present in this class, so that by their mercy, we can say something which will be beneficial for our own spiritual progress and probably for the benefit of the audience also. So today's verse is talking about the universal form. How great philosophers, they imagine that the complete planetary systems in the universe are displays of the different upper and lower limbs of the universal body of the Lord. So the immediate question is, where from the universal form? How does the universal form manifest? What is its origin? So the universal form is the material representation of the Lord. We all know that for the material creation to take place, Mahavishnu had to do his work. Mahavishnu is responsible for the material creation. That is his job. In the creation of the Lord, there is perfect delegation of service. It's amazing how Krishna is an expert delegator. Krishna expands himself into Balaram. We've often heard that Balaram is the first expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna expands into Balaram. Why does he do that? Because Krishna wants to act. Krishna wants to create. Krishna wants to serve himself. It is said that when the Lord is in his thinking mood, he is Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. When the Lord is in a feeling mood, he is Vasudev Krishna. When the Lord is in the willing mood or the action mood, he is Balaram. So when the Lord wants to create, he expands himself as Balaram. So Balaram also begins to expand himself. Balaram takes on the job of creation. Balaram takes on the service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then he expands into the Chaturvyuha. And each Chaturvyuha expands into another Chaturvyuha. And from the third Chaturvyuha, Mahasankrishan is expanded. And from Mahasankrishan, Mahavishnu appears. And Mahavishnu is delegated with the material creation, with the function of the material creation. So it is mentioned how Mahavishnu, he provides the Mahatattva. The Lord's material energy in its subtle form is called Pradana. But when Mahavishnu glances at this Pradana, he empowers it, and it becomes Mahatattva. And then this Mahatattva, the false ego arises, the time factor becomes manifest, the three modes of nature become manifest, and then the living entities are also injected. The glance of Mahavishnu enacts the chemistry of creation. So alongside with all these ingredients of creation, Mahavishnu also manifests the universal form. Actually, some acharyas say it is the universal form is actually an aspect of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Of course, there is no difference between Mahavishnu and Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. Mahavishnu is the first of the three Vishnus. But it's the same Mahavishnu who expands into Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and further expands into the Kshirodakashayi Vishnu as well as the Super Soul. So it is said that the universal form is manifested by Mahavishnu, along with all the ingredients of creation. In fact, the material creation, the material universe, is sometimes described as the universal form of the Lord. In the 5th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned, Kechanaitat Jyotir Anikam Shishu Mara Samastanenaha Bhagavato Vasudevayai Yogad Harayanam Anuvaranyanti. This great machine, the universe, consisting of the stars and the planets, which resembles the form of the Shishumara, the dolphin in water. It is sometimes considered an incarnation of Krishna Vasudeva. And great yogis, they meditate upon Vasudeva in this form because it is actually visible. So the universe comprising of the planets, the stars, is a great machine. And it is coming from Mahavishnu, which is described as the universal form of the Lord. The planetary systems, as is described in this verse, are divided. We have the upper planetary systems, we have the lower planetary systems, and we have the middle planetary systems. In this verse, it is mentioned that the upper planetary systems are above the waist of the universal form, and the lower planetary systems are below the waist of the universal form. Meaning that the middle planetary systems, which are in between the upper and the lower, are exactly at the waist. So transcendentalists, such as yogis whose minds cannot accommodate the Swayam Bhagavan form of the Lord, they prefer to meditate on the Virat Purusha or the Virat Rupa or the Vishwarupa. These are all the different names of the universal form. So, in one sense, the universal form actually demonstrates how the Lord is in control of the entire universe. Mahavishnu is in the causal ocean. Garbhodakashaya Vishnu is sleeping on the Garbha ocean. And Kshirodakashaya Vishnu is in the middle ocean. How does the Lord control the planetary systems in the universe? By means of the universal form. So it is said, Nirbeda Virajas Twaga Roma Shansasu Adyayas Tataha Tata Osadayas Chasam Shishnam Nirbane Tataha. Then the universal form of the Lord, the Virat Rupa, manifests his skin. And thereupon the hair, the mustache, and the beard appeared. After this, all the herbs and drugs become manifest. And then his genitals also appear. So whatever we are seeing in this material creation, be they herbs, be they trees, forests, mountains, rivers, lakes, all these correspond to the different aspects of the universal form. The Lord, in order to control all of these elements in the universe, all of these different aspects of the material creation, the Lord assumes the universal form. Of course, just as material creation is temporary, the universal form is also temporary. And that is why it is described here as imaginary. The impersonalists, they cannot conceive the beautiful form of Lord Shamasundara. They cannot understand the beautiful form of the Lord. So therefore, they imagine the universe to be the form of the Lord. They imagine the Lord manifests throughout the universe in a gigantic form, and they meditate on that. The conception of the Virat form, Virat Rupa, or the universal form of the Lord, as appearing in the material world, is set to imaginary. It enables the less intelligent class of people, which include the neophytes as well as the impersonalists, to adjust to the idea of the Lord having a form. So in other words, the neophyte devotees, the impersonalists, who cannot conceive the transcendental form of Krishna, they imagine, they conceive the universe to be a form of the Lord, and they meditate on that form. So this form cannot give bliss. This form cannot give ecstasy. It can only give fear. It can only generate fear. And so the universal form is generally not appreciated by pure devotees of the Lord. The conception of the Lord known as the Vishwarupa or the Virat Rupa is particularly mentioned along with the various incarnations of the Lord, because all the incarnations of the Lord mentioned are in a transcendental position, and there is no tinge of materialism in the expansions of the Lord. But the universal form, the Vishwarupa, is counted as a form of the Lord just because the neophyte devotee and the impersonalists want to conceive the Lord. They want to accept the form of the Lord, but they have no qualification to understand the form of the Lord, so they accept the universe as the Lord. So therefore it is said that the universe, as we see it, represents the Lord. The universe, as we encounter it, represents the form of the Lord. It is said, Astiti nastiti cha vasu nishtayor. There are two parties, the theist and the atheist. The theists who accept the super soul find the spiritual cause through mystic yoga. The Shankites, who merely analyzes material elements, they come to the conclusion of impersonalism. And so they take the universal form as an all in all. Because as far as impersonalism is concerned, they do not conceive of a spiritual form of the Lord. As we know, the impersonalists, they say there is no form. There is no transcendental form of the Lord. So the only form they can perceive is the universe. But there is a spiritual form of the Lord. And that form can be seen. That form can be encountered by the pure devotees of the Lord. Ultimately, both parties demonstrate that the absolute truth has a form. Because even though the impersonalists, they say there is no spiritual form, but they accept the universe as a form of the Lord. And so they are still accepting a form of the Lord. For the devotees, they know that Krishna has an eternal form. Swayam Bhagavan Krishna has an eternal form. Harihi Nirguna Shakshat. Purusha Prakrite Para. Purusha Prakrite Para means the Lord has a form. He has a form, but it's transcendental. It is not within the material forms. It is beyond the material modes. It's beyond the material creation. That form can only be seen by those who have developed spiritual vision. As Lord Chaitanya tells Raghupati Upadhyaya, Shamam ivam paro rupam puri madhu puri varaha vaya kaishorika dhyayam adhyayeva paro rasaha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Raghupati Upadhyaya that, my dear sadhu, Shamam ivam paro rupam, that the supreme form of the Lord is a sham form. The sham form. The original form of the Lord, that is the form that is present in the spiritual sky. Shamam, Shamananda. Then he says, Puri Madhu Puri Varaha, that the supreme abode of the Lord is Mathura Puri. Mathura Puri is the abode of the Lord. And then the Kaishorika or Kaishorya, the youthful form of the Lord, is the form of the Lord one should meditate upon. And then he says that the Adiras, the conjugal relationship, the conjugal loving relationship, is the topmost relationship one can have with the Lord. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is defining the spiritual form of the Lord. But this form is only accessible to the pure devotees of the Lord. But for a neophyte who cannot perceive that spiritual form, for the impersonalists who cannot perceive that spiritual form, this Virat Rupa, this universal form, this universe as we see, becomes the form of the Lord. And as is described here, the lower, below the waist, comprises of all the lower planetary systems. Above the waist comprises of the upper planetary systems. And at the waist level, the middle planetary systems, which the earth belongs to, is located there. So in this way, both the atheist and the theist, they are accepting, they are agreeing, they've come to a converging point that the Lord has a form. One aspect is that they are seeing the universe, which is temporary, which is material, as a representation of the Lord. And the devotees, they understand that there is a spiritual form, there is a transcendental form, there is a beautiful form of the Lord. In the Gaga Rishi, it is mentioned, Suvrata Sumukha Shukshma Shugosho Shukada Surihirit. That the form of the Lord is so beautiful. His face is so wonderful. He is always found with a flute, and the music of that flute attracts the entire creation. In other words, the Lord has a form. He has a spiritual form that is only accessible to the devotees. But for the non-devotees, they cannot have access to that wonderful form of Krishna. So in the absence of that wonderful form, transcendental form, the atheists, they see the universe as the form of the Lord. And so, just like these impersonal philosophers are describing the universe as the form of the Lord, similarly, the atheists and the neophytes, they see the universe as the Lord. And so they meditate on this universal form. Of course, Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Bhagavad Gita that the universal form actually certifies the supreme position of the personality of Godhead. In the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verse 15, Arjuna said, Pashyami devam stava deva dehe sarvam stata bhuta veshesha sangam brahmanam isham kamalashanastam rishim cha sarvam uragam cha divyam. My dear Lord, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. Arjuna is sitting in one place. He's sitting on the chariot of Lord Krishna in between the two warring parties, the Kaurava army and the Pandava army. But by the grace of Krishna, Arjuna is seeing the universal form. And in that universal form, Arjuna is seeing the various demigods located in their various planets. He sees Brahma sitting on the lotus flower. He sees Lord Shiva. He sees the divine serpent. He sees how the Lord controls the entire universe. So Prabhupada says that the universal form actually acts as a certificate to prove the supremacy of Krishna. And therefore, Srila Prabhupada says that if somebody comes today and claims that he is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we should immediately demand for his credentials. And what are the credentials? The universal form. One should be able to display his universal form in order to be accepted as Lord Krishna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Krishna did. When Arjuna demanded to see the universal form, Krishna did not hesitate to show Arjuna the universal form. In fact, it is mentioned how Krishna displayed the universal form before his mother. When Krishna was just a toddler, just learning how to walk, and were playing with his cowherd boy friends, they went to report to Mother Yashoda that Krishna had eaten some earth. And so Yashoda called Krishna over and was very heavy on Krishna. Why have you eaten earth? And Krishna said, no, mom, I have not eaten any earth. And Mother Yashoda said, all right, if you are denying that you have not eaten any earth, please open your mouth. And when Krishna opened his mouth, Yashoda could see the whole universe inside the mouth of his little boy, Krishna. The Srimad Bhagavatam mentions that Yadi Ivam Tari Vyedihi to Ukta Sa Bhagavan Hari. Mother Yashoda challenged Krishna, if you have not eaten earth, open your mouth and let me see. And when Krishna opened his mouth, Mother Yashoda saw the whole universe in the mouth of Krishna. Krishna displayed his authority. Krishna displayed his credentials. And Mother Yashoda could not comprehend, because he saw Krishna, he saw herself, he saw the whole universe, he saw the upper planetary system, he saw the middle planetary system, he saw the lower planetary system, and he saw herself with Krishna on his lap. It was so bewildering. So Mother Yashoda closed her eyes, and again when she opened, the universal form was still there. So it is mentioned that Krishna is described as Parama Swatantra. Parama Swatantra. Yadyapi Ishwaratumi Parama Swatantra. Atapi Swabhave Hau Prema Paratantra. Krishna is Parama Swatantra. That means Krishna is completely independent. Swatantra means completely independent. And he's not only Swatantra, he's Parama Swatantra. He is supremely independent. And so, even though Krishna is completely independent, supremely independent, but Krishna is controlled by his devotees. So therefore it is said, Atapi Swabhave Hau Prema Paratantra. Paratantra means dependent. So Krishna depends on the love of his devotees. Prema Paratantra. So even though Krishna is the supreme independent, but Krishna becomes subservient to the love of his devotees. So when Mother Yashoda ordered Krishna to open his mouth, Krishna happily opened his mouth because the mother ordered him to open his mouth. But when Krishna opened his mouth, Mother Yashoda could not, he was bewildered. She was confused. Seeing the whole universe in the mouth of his little boy, and not only that, he also saw herself and Krishna inside the mouth of Krishna. So as Prabhupada said, this universal form is actually meant to certify the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. So Krishna was demonstrating to Mother Yashoda, he is the Supreme Lord. And therefore, even if he eats earth, there is nothing wrong, because everything is within his belly. Like Mahavishnu, everything is within the belly of Mahavishnu. So Krishna demonstrated that everything, the whole material creation, the whole material elements, earth, fire, water, air, everything is within his belly. So even if he had eaten some earth, it is already there. It is nothing new. So in this way, Krishna establishes his supreme position as the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. Krishna is saying in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that everything is emanating from him, both the spiritual and the material. Everything is emanating from Krishna. So Krishna was demonstrating that both spirit and matter originates from him. It is also mentioned that when Krishna went to Hastinapur as a messenger of peace, Krishna had gone to Hastinapur to try to talk to the Kauravas for a peaceful settlement of the family war, because the Pandavas, they just wanted some 5 villages. And if the Kauravas were ready to part with 5 villages, then there was no need for a war. So Krishna went on behalf of the Pandavas to negotiate such a settlement. But Duryodhana was so demonic, he did not accept the deal. Instead, Duryodhana was rather organizing his military to have Krishna arrested. So Krishna displayed his universal form to show to Duryodhana that he cannot be arrested. Krishna displayed a huge, gigantic form that the military of Duryodhana were insignificant. They were like ants before the universal form. It is said that created fear in the military of Duryodhana. And instead of them arresting Krishna, they were rather talking about a wonderful display of the universal form, that the blind man, Dhritarashtra, heard about it and became very eager to also see the universal form. So Dhritarashtra prayed to Krishna. He said, "My dear Lord, from childhood I've been blind. But the way I'm hearing about this, your display of your universal form, I would love to see it. If you don't mind, give me sight. Offer me some sight, even if it's just temporary, momentarily. Let me also have a glance of this universal form everyone is glorifying." And so Krishna obliged. Krishna gave Dhritarashtra sight. And Dhritarashtra saw the universal form of the Lord. And as soon as he saw the universal form of the Lord, he again became blind. So Krishna shows the universal form to different devotees. Even Brahma saw the universal form. Arjuna, he saw the universal form. Even it is said that when Vamanadev appeared in the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaj, he also displayed some universal form. So in this way, the Lord actually stamps his authority. The Lord, he demonstrates that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and this is the certificate, this universal form. Anyone who is claiming to be an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead must display the universal form. So the universal form, besides being an object of meditation for the neophyte devotees, besides being an object of meditation for the impersonalists, the universal form also acts as a certificate as a credential of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that anyone who claims to be an incarnation of the Lord must demonstrate, must manifest this universal form. So, the Bhagavatam says, Na yam sukapo Bhagavan, Dehinam Gopika Sutaha, Gyaninam Chadma Bhutananam Yata Bhaktimam Iha. Now, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the son of Mother Yashoda, is always accessible to the devotees engaged in spontaneous devotional service. But he is not accessible to the mental speculators, to those who are striving for self-realization by severe austerities, and to those who consider the body to be the self. For such, the universal form becomes the source of meditation. So, the universal form simply shows the arrangement of the planetary systems. It shows how the Lord controls the universe. It shows how the Lord permeates the universe. Like it is said that the mountains are the bones of the universal form. The forests, herbs, grasses are the hairs of the universal form. The rivers are the veins of the universal form. And different aspects of the material creation simply represents the different aspects of the universal form. But for the devotees who are lovers of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotees who are in love with Krishna, they see beyond the universal form, because the universal form is simply material. It is not present in the spiritual world. It is not manifest in the spiritual world. It is temporarily manifested in the material world because matter has a period of manifestation and a period of unmanifestation. So similarly, the universal form also has a period of manifestation. So long as the material world is manifested, the universal form is manifested. And when the material world is withdrawn, the universal form is also withdrawn. So therefore, the universal form is temporary, it is imaginary, and the universal form actually originates from Mahavishnu, or sometimes people say from Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. There is no difference between the two of them. So, but this universal form does not exist in the spiritual world. It is not that Krishna comes from the universal form. No, the universal form comes from Krishna. When Arjuna demanded to see the universal form as a way of ascertaining the supremacy of the Supreme Lord from Krishna, the universal form was manifested. And when Arjuna was frightened by the universal form and requested Krishna to withdraw the universal form, Krishna again manifested his 400 form, and from the 400 form, he manifested the 200 form. So the original form of the Lord is the Shamashundara form, and that form is described as Somya Vapu, the most beautiful, the most attractive, the most sweet form. And that is what devotees are interested in seeing. Devotees are less concerned about the universal form. For the universal form is simply an imagination conceived by the impersonalist philosophers and the neophyte devotees who have no access to the transcendental form of Krishna. So I think it's already up after 4. We would end here. If there are any comments or questions, they are welcome. Otherwise, we call it a day. This is a bit of a technical subject, so we just try to present something. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Dear devotees, you are all witness to what we heard. And I know there are 2 types of foods. There is the type of food that is cooked or eaten through the mouth. And there is another food which is eaten through the ears to the heart. And I was very stupid. I should have eaten food eaten through the mouth before coming here to eat this food eaten through the ear, because I feel full, but I also feel I have to eat something. Most of us are coming from Christian background where Christ said that you food, don't you know the word of God is also food. So some of us, I'm sure, are experiencing that here today. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving us this nectarian about Krishna and his different manifestations. So devotees, if anyone may have a question, comment, realizations, please, you may do so. One thing I would like to say across is that it's so beautiful that Dhritarashtra, being born blind and had never seen anything in his life ever, when he prayed to the Supreme Lord allowed him to have a vision to see. So that gives us hope. No matter how nonsense we may be, if we approach the Supreme Lord and pray to him, he is so merciful. These are some of the pastimes we hear about Krishna that makes us want to serve him. Because there are other aspects of Krishna that makes him like, oh, be careful with this blue boy. But there are some aspects also that are so beautiful, like this Dhritarashtra. So we pray to the Supreme Lord. May he give us the sight to see him. If even it's once, we'll still be happy.
Yeah, actually, it is said that the Dhritarashtra experienced transformation in his life twice. Yeah. One of the transformations he experienced was when Krishna offered him the vision to see the universal form. He underwent some transformation. Actually, at that point, he was thinking, maybe there's no need for this war. In fact, when he saw the universal form, he was convinced that there was no need for the war.
That was before the war.
Yes, it was before the war. When Krishna went to Hastinapur to settle the war, he didn't want the war to take place. So when he saw the universal form, he had a change of heart. He was thinking, Krishna, if Krishna has shown me this, let us just resolve the matter. But again, Duryodhana convinced him. Duryodhana argued the father and changed his mind. That this is magic. He said, this is magic. They should not take Krishna's magic very seriously. This is magic. Krishna's magic cannot do anything. The Pandavas cannot win the war. He has three powerful people on his side. Karna, Bhishma Dev, and Dronacharya. Those 3 people, Arjuna cannot defeat them. those three people. So he was 100% sure of winning the war. So when Krishna displayed the universal form, Dhritarashtra was touched. He was thinking, let's agree, let's solve this matter. We shouldn't allow Krishna to get involved in this matter. With what he has just shown us, he can do anything. But again, Duryodhana convinced the father. The second transformation, the second incident in his life is after the war. When Vidura came back from his tour, his pilgrimage, at that time, Dhritarashtra and his wife Gandhari, they were taking shelter of Yudhishthira Maharaj. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was taking very good care of them. And actually, it is said that Dhritarashtra was still thinking he was a king. After he has lost in the battle, he has lost all his children, but he was still thinking, I'm the king. My nephews are treating me as a superior, so I'm still the king. So when Vidura came, he really spoke very strongly to Dhritarashtra. He actually practically insulted him. Now you are living like a dog in this house. You have no shame. You attempted to kill these children, your brother's children. You have done so many things to eliminate them, you couldn't. But now you are living with them, depending on them. You are shameless? Get out of this place. Go and meditate. Take to the path of spiritual life and forget about this material existence. And so they said those words from Vidura, his junior brother. Vidura acted as the spiritual master of Dhritarashtra. And those words penetrated the heart of Dhritarashtra so much, he experienced transformation. He immediately agreed with Vidura to go to the Himalayas. So 2 instances in the life of Dhritarashtra, he went through some transformation.
Thank you so much. As I recall, Vidura's chastisement to Dhritarashtra were sharper than the sword. So, okay, Arichakra Prabhu, please give me on mute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Chakra Prabhu.
Dandava Pranam.
Dandava Pranams, all glories to
All
Gurudev.
glories to Gurudev, all glories to you, all glories to Prabhupada.
Jai, jai, jai.
Yeah, thank you for your class.
Thank
Yeah,
you for giving me the chance.
my question is, when we talk of, we are saying that material means anything devoid of Krishna.
Okay.
But if anything is with Krishna, then it's no more material, it's spiritual. Am I right on that?
Yes.
That anything devoid of Krishna is material. Then anything that is with Krishna at the center of it is spiritual.
Well, I think I will say anything that is connected to Krishna's pleasure. Let's put it this way.
Okay. Okay.
Anything that is connected to Krishna's pleasure.
Krishna's pleasure. Okay.
Yeah, it becomes spiritual. And
okay.
anything that we keep for ourselves or which is meant for our pleasure becomes material.
Okay. So,
yeah.
So if that is the explanation of material and spiritual,
yeah.
then how come the universal form being Krishna himself, how can we refer to it as material?
Well, first of all, its origin, it was manifested according to Bhagavatam, I think 3rd canto. It mentions how when Mahavishnu was manifesting the ingredients of material creation, alongside with that, the universal form was manifested. So that means the universal form came along with the material creation. It was not existing before. It wasn't existing. And so when the material creation is withdrawn, it is also withdrawn. So, and in another way, we can say the material creation is what is called the universal form. And the different locations of the planets are the different parts of the universal form. And the different things we see in the universe, like the mountains, they are said to be the bones. The rivers are said to be the veins. The hairs on the is said to, the vegetation is said to be the hairs, and different aspects of the universal form are compared to the different manifestations of the material creation. So therefore, the understanding is that the universal form is not present in the spiritual world. It is only present in the material world. And that is why it is described as material.
Oh, okay. Then if that is the case, then what about the issue of the super soul? Because the super soul is also said not to exist in the spiritual world, because the super soul only is manifested when the living entity is, impregnated into material nature, then the super soul comes along with it.
Yes. Well, the super soul is not described as material. The super soul is said to be an expansion. You see, the universal form is not considered an expansion of Mahavishnu. I think that's the difference. The universal form is not considered an expansion of Mahavishnu. It could be considered a creation of Mahavishnu. But the super soul is actually an expansion. From Mahavishnu, we have Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. From Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, we have Shirodakashaya Vishnu. And from Shirodakashaya Vishnu, we have the super soul. So therefore, a super soul is a direct manifestation of Mahavishnu, or an expansion of the expansion of Mahavishnu. So therefore, the super soul is considered spiritual because it's a manifestation of Mahavishnu, or Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, or Shirodakashaya Vishnu. But the universal form is a creation, is not an expansion. It is a creation. It was created along with the ingredients. It was manifested along with the ingredients, the material ingredients at the beginning of the universe. So therefore, it is material. But the super soul is a direct expansion of Mahavishnu, or Garbhodakashaya Vishnu, or Shirodakashaya Vishnu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. I have another question, but I will reserve it.
All
it's
right.
a follow-up question, but let other people also go.
Okay.
Well, Prabhuji, I have this thing that says, when you were speaking, you were talking about how one can ascertain whether this particular personality is Krishna or not Krishna, is Godhead or not Godhead. And that is the universal form.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking about it in this way that, yes, that is a sure proof to be demanded if someone claims to be incarnation of Krishna.
Okay.
But I have heard from different people, I will mention them here. I've heard from different people about one rascal who considered himself an incarnation of Krishna. And my first question to those who were claiming that this person was incarnation of Krishna was, did he manifest his universal form? And they said yes. And The reason they said yes is that because Krishna revealed his universal form to one person at a time. So he revealed to Arjuna, he revealed to Mother Yashoda, he revealed to Dhritarashtra, he revealed to this, that, but it's like individually. So they're saying that this person also revealed to some intimate disciples of his. But I'm thinking that even though that is a fact to be demanded, but what about lifting the Krishna to go back downhill? Or Krishna marrying 16,108 wives and being with them simultaneously and doing different things at the same time. Don't you think those are like more concrete demands that we can request of these people who claim to be incarnations of Krishna, as opposed to the Virat Rupa form?
Well, yeah, thank you, Prabhupada, for the question. Srila Prabhupada mentions the lifting of the Govardhan Hill as one of the credentials of Krishna. And then he also mentions his killing of Putana at the age of 3 months as one of his credentials. But the universal form, Prabhupada also mentions that when Krishna displayed the universal form before Arjuna, some other people saw. Yeah. Sanjaya saw. Srila Vyasadeva saw. And it's also mentioned some demigods, they also saw. So it's not just Arjuna alone who was seeing the universal form. There were some other authorities who also saw. And they accepted that authority, that credential. So if somebody comes today and said he's showing his universal form to only one person at a time, we may not accept it, because when Krishna showed the universal form, other people beside Arjuna, who was the main, what do we say? He requested to see the universal form. But Krishna did not show Arjuna alone. He showed it to some other personalities, like Sanjaya, like Vyasadeva, some demigods, some sages. They saw. So if somebody says he's showing his universal form to only one disciple at a time, we cannot accept that, because Krishna did not do that. Krishna showed to a diverse audience. And so he should be able to show to his diverse audience. He cannot just show one person and say he has shown his universal form. But as you said, certainly, Srila Prabhupada says that if anybody, I've heard a lecture where Prabhupada says anybody who claims to be the Supreme Lord, he should just lift a small rock. What to speak of lifting the whole Govardhan Hill, a 22-mile-long hill. Nobody can do that. So yes, the Govardhan Hill is a great credential. Krishna living with his 16,108 queens in Dwaraka, simultaneously with all of them. Krishna killing Putana at the age of 3 months. All of these things are extraordinary activities that no human being can perform. And so we could add all this as part of the credentials of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for sure. But as far as the universal form is concerned, Srila Prabhupada also highlighted on that by saying that the universal form could be seen in the heavens, it could be seen by some sages, it could be seen by some demigods, and even on the earth planet, Vyasadeva saw, Sanjaya saw, and some other personalities saw. So in this way, one cannot just claim that I've shown my universal form to my disciple, and that's it. No, he should show to some exalted people. Some exalted people should certify that yes, we have seen the universal form of that person. Only then can we accept him as an incarnation. Otherwise, Srila Prabhupada's recommendation is he should be kicked in the head.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. I didn't know this aspect of the philosophy. I would have used that to defend myself, but now I know. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Govinda's hand is up. Govinda Prabhu's hand is up.
Yes, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Srivas Maharaj, please accept
Hare
my humble
Krishna, Sri
obeisances.
Govinda Prabhu, all glories to Gurudev, glory to Prabhupada.
All glories to Gurudev, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you.
All glories to you too, Prabhu.
Thank you very much for the wonderful delivery.
Well,
Wonderful delivery of the Bhagavatam Katha.
this is
Thank you very, very much.
It's a difficult topic. It's a difficult topic, this universal form.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult topic, but you are so empowered by Gurudev that you could just pick it up, just like Krishna picked up the Govardhan hill, like a mushroom.
Gurudev's mercy,
And you are-
Prabhupada's mercy.
Yeah, and you've made so much justice to this very verse.
And
And this shows that you are the embodiment of knowledge.
No. I'm still a
And-
student. I'm still a student.
And we are very much proud. We are very much proud to have you as our god brother. And we know for sure that we may not be perfect as you are, but we are very sure that when you get back to Godhead, you will take all of us.
Gurudev has
recommend
taken all of us.
back home. Back to
Gurudev
Godhead.
has taken all of us. We are all towing behind Bhakti Tita Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much. Yeah, but my question is that we hear Krishna, manifested his universal form to different personalities, all because of to prove himself to those people that he is the supreme personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
And also he came in different forms to a personality like Hiranyakashipu, to show him that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. And so even though Hiranyakashipu was such a powerful person, but Krishna came to finish him in just one time in a form of Lord Narasimhade.
Yeah.
So my question is that today also there are so many rascals such as Hiranyakashipu and others, and there are so many atheists. So I'm wondering why Krishna, we know that those who don't believe that God even does exist, Krishna finally come to them in a form of death. But for death, we're all going to die. Those who believe in him, those who don't believe in him,
Yeah.
everybody will have to die.
No. Yeah. That's
So
true.
that one is not so powerful, to check these people. So the question is that why is Krishna not coming again? Like he came as, he showed him his universal form. He came as Hiranyakashipu, Lord Narasimhadev to finish Hiranyakashipu. and others. Why is Krishna not coming again?
Hey,
or
Krishna
if
has
he does
come.
come, how is he coming? In what form?
Krishna is already here. Srila Prabhupada says that the name, Krishna's name, Kali Kalera Dharma, Krishna Nam Sankirtan. Kali Kalera Dharma, Krishna Nam Sankirtan. Krishna has already descended in Kali Yuga in the form of his holy name. And his holy name is so powerful, it can kill our demonic mindsets, our demonic mentality. That is the weapon for this age. In fact, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invoked his Sudarshan Chakra to kill Jagai and Madai because they had wounded Lord Nityananda, Lord Nityananda reminded Lord Chaitanya, he said, my dear Lord, in this age of Kali, we cannot kill. If you want to kill these two guys, Jagai and Madai, it means you have to kill everybody else because everybody is like Jagai and Madai. Our mission is not to kill their bodies. Our mission is to kill their mentality. So please, my dear Lord, withdraw your Sudarshan Chakra and let us change their mindset. Let us give them prema. If we give them prema, then that will be more powerful than just chopping off their heads. So therefore, Mahaprabhu's weapon is not the Sudarshan Chakra. Mahaprabhu's weapon is not the club. Mahaprabhu's weapon is love of Godhead. Krishna Bhavamritam Yaha. Krishna Bhavamritam. Love of Godhead. That is what Mahaprabhu has brought. And as soon as he delivers it to the living entity, his demonic mentality goes away. So there are a lot of atheists in Kali Yuga, but they can all be changed if the holy name spreads. And that is our responsibility, how we can spread his holy name everywhere. And anyone who comes in touch with the holy name will get some change of heart. Krishna Das Kaviraj says, Deha Dehira Naman Namera. He says, Krishna's body and Krishna's form or Krishna's identity is the same. There's no difference. Krishna's name and Krishna's identity is the same. There's no difference. So anybody who comes in touch with Krishna's form, Krishna's name, Krishna's pastimes, they're all spiritual. Krishna Gun, Krishna Lila, Krishna Nam, Sama Vrinda Chit Ananda, they're all spiritual. And by coming in touch with them, one becomes spiritualized. So in this age, everybody has this mentality, atheistic mentality. And so if you want to kill, it means you just slaughter so many people in the street. Therefore, the Lord has come with a different weapon. Here, there is no physical killing. There is, he distributes nectar. He distributes love of Godhead. He distributes the holy name. And anyone who chants the holy name, anyone who takes shelter of the holy name will experience a change of consciousness. And this happened to many, many people. Even demons, when they hear the holy name, their hearts change. When they come in touch with the holy name, their demonic nature becomes subjugated. So the weapon is the holy name. In fact, the Navayujendras, the 9 sons of Rishabhadev, who became Paramahamsas, and they were touring the whole universe, speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. They glorify Lord Chaitanya in the 11th canto, 5th chapter, where he's saying that the Lord would appear with his associates, Sangha Pargastra. His Sangha means associates, Astra, his weapons. The Lord would appear with his associates and his weapons. And what are the weapons? The weapons are the holy name. So, and we have seen, all of us, we are small demons before, but by associating with the holy names, now we have become sadhus. So that is the power of the holy name. So the whole world can be changed. The whole world can be transformed into Vaikuntha if we can just keep spreading the holy names and let everybody hear the holy names, let everybody chant the holy names. If we just do that, Srila Prabhupada says, the golden age will dawn upon this earth. In fact, it is said for the 10,000 years, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's influence is going to last for 10,000 years. And we're going to experience another golden age because of the distribution of the names of Krishna. So the weapon, the astra, is the holy name. And the associates are the devotees. And so the associates, they will distribute this weapon. They will distribute this astra, the holy name. And by so doing, all the demonic people, they'll all be changed to devotees. So that is our mission.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, I have this question. We're talking about this Virat Rupa form.
Okay.
We are hearing that it is material.
Yeah.
Because it is synonymous with the pradhan, which is like the ingredients for manifesting this material creation.
Yeah.
So I understand that there are different types of annihilations.
Yeah.
There is this annihilation when Lord Brahma goes to sleep, things get annihilated. And when Lord Shiva also plays and dances, the creation gets annihilated. Yeah. And then when Lord Brahma completes his 100 years of heaven, there is annihilation.
Yeah.
Now, when Lord Brahma completes his 100 years of annihilation, that's everything within the universe gets destroyed, disappeared.
Yes, actually,
something stays.
You see, Lord Brahma's lifespan corresponds with the breathing of Mahavishnu.
Yes.
So one inhalation or exhalation.
Exhalation is Brahma's life.
Is Brahma's life. And when he inhales, he withdraws everything. Yeah. So what is it? 11 trillion 40 billion years is just the exhalation of Mahavishnu. Yeah. And then the inhalation also the same period of time. Yeah. So when he inhales, the same period of time, then again he exhales the same period of time. Yeah. So once he inhales, everything is withdrawn. The whole material creation collapses and withdrawn into the pradana. It becomes subtle. And it remains in Mahavishnu's belly.
So if that being the case, how then do we say in regards to Lord Krishna's descent?
No, Krishna descent.
Excuse me, I'm not done. Lord Krishna's descent, it is often said that the Lord never leaves Vrindavan.
Okay.
The Lord is always in Vrindavan.
Yeah.
And that's why some devotees say that Vasudeva Krishna is not the Swayam Bhagavan Krishna.
Yeah.
The Swayam Bhagavan Krishna never leaves Vrindavan.
Yes.
Now, if this Vrindavan also at some point get disappeared after the so-called demise of Lord Brahma, then what is the meaning of Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan? When we say Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, are we referring to Vrindavan in the spiritual world or the manifestation of Vrindavan on this earth planet?
Well, both. When we say Vrindavan, we are referring to the Goloka Vrindavan, but we are also referring to the Bhoma Vrindavan. Bhoma Vrindavan means the Vrindavan on this earth planet. So, you see, it is the Goloka Vrindavan that descends into Bhoma Vrindavan.
Mhm.
When Krishna wants to come into the material world, then he brings down his playing ground to the material world. And so, even though Krishna comes down into the material world, his original form, that Swayam Bhagavan form, remains in Goloka Vrindavan.
Mhm.
But because the Bhoma Vrindavan is a replica of Goloka Vrindavan,
Mhm.
there is also a replica of Swayam Bhagavan Krishna in Bhoma Vrindavan.
Mhm.
So there is Swayam Bhagavan Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan, and there is Swayam Bhagavan Krishna in Bhoma Vrindavan. So in that sense, Krishna never leaves Goloka Vrindavan. And so long as Bhoma Vrindavan is manifested in the material world, Krishna never leaves Bhoma Vrindavan. But when the whole entire creation is collapsed, I mean the material creation collapses, then Krishna withdraws the Bhoma Vrindavan back to Goloka Vrindavan.
Mhm.
And again, when the material creation is affected, again Krishna brings down the Bhoma Vrindavan because he must always come into the universe. And in fact, in every universe, Bhoma Vrindavan is there. In every universe, Bhoma Vrindavan is there because Krishna is going from one universe to another universe to another universe, performing the same leelas for the benefit of the conditioned souls.
If that is the case, then I do not think it is correct for the scriptures to say that Krishna appears and disappears, since he's always present. But the scriptures also tell us that, for example, like last week, we celebrated Krishna's Janmashtami.
Yeah.
Krishna's appearance, which is notable for when Krishna descended
into the universe. Yeah.
Into the universe.
Yes.
And when Krishna descended into the universe, before he descended to the universe, Vrindavan was already there.
Yes.
So if Vrindavan was already there, and Krishna, please, if you are not speaking, mute yourself. When it's time for you to speak, then you're on mute. When Krishna appeared, Vrindavan was already there. So if Vrindavan was already there, then that should mean that Krishna was already there. There was no need for him to appear because he never leaves Vrindavan. He's already there. But that is not the case. That is not what we read from the scriptures. What we're reading from the scriptures is that Krishna descended and appeared through Mother Devaki from her heart. And now some devotees are saying that Krishna appeared from Mother Yashoda because Mother Yashoda is in Vrindavan and Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. And that is why I'm asking this question, because if Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, even the Boma Vrindavan, he never leaves, then there is no reason for the scriptures to tell us that Krishna descended or appeared there, because it's already there.
Yes, you see, the issue of Krishna's presence is, what do I say, is a matter of realization. Even though Krishna, even right now, Krishna is in Vrindavan, right now. But if I go to Vrindavan, will I see Krishna? No, I won't see Krishna. Because I do not have the qualification to see Krishna. But some other exalted personality, they can see Krishna. So Krishna's presence in Vrindavan is not something physical everybody can see and ascertain. We can say it's a state of consciousness. Those who are elevated in consciousness, they can feel Krishna's presence in Vrindavan always. But a lot more of people may live in Vrindavan without even once experiencing the presence of Krishna. So Krishna's presence in Vrindavan is not a material manifestation that everybody will go and say, yes, I've seen Krishna. No. Krishna's presence at Vrindavan is that one must be elevated. One must be fortunate enough to feel the presence of Krishna in Vrindavan. You know, it is said that when Krishna left the planet, the queens of Krishna were very unhappy. But amongst the queens, there was one queen, Kalindi. Kalindi was very jolly. Kalindi was very happy. But the other queens were unhappy. So the queen, they observed that Kalindi was never sad. Kalindi was always joyful. So they went to Kalindi and said, dear Kalindi, what is your secret? All of us, we have lost our husband, but you seem not to be affected by it. So can you tell us the secret? And Kalindi said, hear Srimad Bhagavatam. If you give oral reception to Srimad Bhagavatam, you will feel the same way I'm feeling. So therefore, it is said that Parikshit Maharaj organized and sent all the queens of Vrindavan to Govardhan. Because who is to speak Bhagavatam? Uddhava. Uddhava was a close associate of Krishna. And Uddhava, they say he's still living in Vrindavan, he's still living in Govardhan. Till today, Uddhava is there. There's a place called Uddhava Charita. Uddhava is living there as a blade of grass. But if you know how to invoke Uddhava, Uddhava will manifest. So Parikshit Maharaj, he took all the queens of Krishna and they went to Govardhan, and then they performed an intense kirtan, and Uddhava manifested. And the queens requested Uddhava to speak Bhagavatam. And when they heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Uddhava, the queens, their miseries were gone. They could feel Krishna's presence in their lives. So when we say Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, it is not a physical presence. It is a state of consciousness. Those who have the right consciousness, they can feel the presence of Krishna always. Those who don't have the right consciousness, they cannot see Krishna, they cannot feel Krishna's presence. In fact, he said when Krishna left the gopis in Vrindavan, the gopis, initially they were feeling very miserable. But then they decided just to speak about Krishna. That's the only thing that could keep them happy. They just kept describing Krishna's qualities, Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's activities, and they realized that Krishna was present. They realized that. The more they talk about Krishna, the more they felt Krishna's association in Vrindavan. So when they realized that, that was their daily activity, Krishna Katha. So Krishna's presence in Vrindavan means Krishna consciousness. Those who are fully Krishna conscious, they can feel the presence of Krishna in Vrindavan. But if one is not Krishna conscious, you can live in Vrindavan, but you will not experience Krishna. So Krishna is present, but in a very transcendental form that only those who are Sura Bhaktas, they can feel Krishna's presence. They can experience Krishna 24 hours. Others cannot. So it's a state of consciousness.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Sorry, Sade Prabhu, please, I write you a private message, please. We are having organizing seminar for his Holiness Bhakti Damodara Maharaj. It's starting in the next 2 minutes. Please,
Wow.
Sade Prabhu, please, we are begging you, please.
We can end our class. Yeah, so that you can
Thank you
go.
very much, Maharaj.
Yeah, so I think, yes, Maharaj's class is coming. So those who would like to listen to the principles of freedom, that's the seminar Maharaj is giving. So please.